Hi guys, it's me Ty here, and today I'm going to talk about what pre-def diesel pickup to buy, and I'm talking between Ford, Dodge, and Chevy, and of what I would buy. And I thought about this a lot, you guys. I've been around heavy-duty pickups all my life, and dealt with them firsthand, and I think about all the drawbacks of some and the good things about others, and from what I've seen, we've been around a lot of high mileage ones. Okay, so the first thing I look at when I'm gonna buy a diesel pickup, I look um, at junk parts vehicles to buy for parts being affordable. Because if the engine goes out on a diesel pickup, that is going to be ridiculously expensive. You guys are going to be paying $12,000 for a reman engine. So you definitely want to have a junk pickup parked behind your house where you can grab a good running engine that you've heard run out of there, or one with a good transmission out of it that you have seen move, or the transfer case, or rear axle, or front axle, whatever, or the ECM computers out of them. Um, the 7.3 Power Stroke Fords are expensive at $5,500 with 400,000 miles on them, from what I've been seeing, because I'm always looking at ones for sale here. Um, uh, but they do have the cheapest engines to buy though, because I see they have a good running Power Stroke um, van. This is an old two-wheel drive van, a 2001 model that needs a $150 injector cups. You can just buy those on eBay. The van's only listed for $1,000 with 284,000 miles on it, on the engine. And then, but what shied me away from these Super Duties was my coworker heavy hauled with a gooseneck and an automatic transmission, and his torque converter stalled out in the parking lot um, when the forklift loaded him. So he said the forklift would have to push him to get him moving, and he would have to park on downhill slopes and only stop at downhill traffic lights. And that's why I did not buy the 1999 to 2002 model 7.3 liter Power Stroke. I'm not saying they're not good engines, but when I bought my pickup, which I bought a 2004 Cummins diesel with the automatic, uh, when I chose between all of them, that was what shined me from Fords. I'd always been a Ford guy. I grew up with Fords, but that's the reason that just always stuck in my head since the age I think I was like 21 years old when I worked with that coworker that was a heavy hauler with him. Let's see here. Okay. Yep. And so here it is. I ended up buying a 2004 Cummins automatic uh, HO engine, and I bought mine at like 122,000 miles and ran it to just under 150,000 miles over a 5 year period. And these pickups were made from 2003 to 2007. And what was so great about the 2003 to 2007 5.9 liter Cummins was um, the 1990 was it 1994 to 2002 body style Cummins diesels. I had those and the half tons and all them. And I always like to joke and say they put the Chrysler minivan automatic transmission in those, whether it be the half ton or the Cummins diesel, because all we ever had was transmission issues. Mine was in the shop all the time, and I would never recommend those. The engines were awesome, but not the transmission. You are looking for heartache. I had mine in the repair shop all the time, getting that transmission rebuilt. And the reason it would have to go in the shop was it would start out in second gear, so it had barely any power at the low end, and it would not shift in overdrive. So it was running at super high RPM, so it was overtime. So I take it in the repair shop, spend hundreds of dollars to get it repaired, and it worked good for 1 month, and then I would lose first gear and overdrive gear again. I so just stay the heck away from them. Never buy one, you guys. Um, but then in 2003, they put a heavy duty automatic transmission in them. Uh, the like that old bias style, the 1994 to um, 2002, those are called like a 47 RE. But in 2003, they made this new transmission. It was called a 48 RE, and it was amazing. I mean, mine could pull anything. With that inline six, they have so much torque, you guys. And I ended up dropping. I made it corner too tight. I was on a really tight approach, and I dropped my gooseneck trailer down into the ditch, so I didn't have any traction on my drive wheels. I was trying to pull it out of there, and I overheated my automatic transmission, and so because I was just running it freaking hard trying to pull that thing out of there, and instantly buzzers were going off in my cab and warning lights over the dash. It said tranny oil hot, shut down the engine. So I shut down and let it cool off for whatever 10 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever. And then I was able to have a big loader tractor pull me out. And guess what? I went miles and miles and miles all the way up until I sold it, no issues, and that tranny was still working good. But according to YouTube, people are saying that like right at about 100 or right at about 200,000 is when those trannies go out. So, like I said, from my personal experience, I won't know because I only ran mine up to 150,000 before I sold it. And by the way, I bought the uh, 1999 to 2006 GM 3/4 tons with that 6 liter gas in it. And for because I only do occasional towing anymore. If I was doing heavy hauling like that, I would definitely go back to a diesel, guys, a pre-emissions diesel. But this is way cheaper having the gas if I just tow occasionally, and it pulls it too. So, um, yep. And the amazing thing about that 2004 Cummins that I had, you guys, uh, I was pulling trailers that were over 27,000 pounds, like 27,600 pounds. Um, and I got them moving with no problem by using, I put my transfer case in 4 low, and and I didn't pull very fast, only like 25 miles an hour, but I was able to move them all around out in the off-road areas. Um, and the only time I ever stalled out the torque converter, uh, like when my buddy with that Power Stroke did in a Menards parking lot, um, was when I was hauling one of those 27,000 pound 600 loads up a dirt trail. It was going up a hill and it had just been dissed um, by a farmer, and it was like 6 inch deep flour is what it turned into. And let's see here, and I had just got done making a right hand turn from hard packed ground, so I was barely moving, and then I turned on that, so I didn't have any momentum, and I was still in my turns. That's what screwed me, and then a brand new Power Stroke hooked the tow onto me and pulled me up the hill. So we had 2 engines pulling and twice as much traction. So that's how we got the trailer up that hill. Um, it started great in the winter, that 2004 Cummins. Um, Started great in the winter when I had it unplugged, and the only problems I ever had with it was the $407 water pump failed, and the $700 throttle position sensor failed, and that caused it to go into 45 mile per hour D-rate mode, and also a plugged air filter also caused the 48 5 mile intermittent D-rate mode. Those are both intermittent D-rate modes. I couldn't figure them out, so I had to hire a mechanic. And back then, it was before 2013, before the days of YouTube, before I ever used it, YouTube or knew anything about it. So I always had to hire a mechanic to do my work for me back then. So, um, uh, yep, and like I said, I overheated the transmission once trying to pull the trailer out of a ditch, and still held up after that. And I never had any transmission troubles. And then since this body style no longer uses the minivan transmission like the 1994 to 2002 body style, and I will always call those ones before this transmission minivan, Chrysler minivan transmissions. Um, these pickups are the most affordable to buy at low mileage out of the three brands. You can buy a 2006 Cummins 4x4 with 184,000 miles for $8,000. So if you're looking to get in something that can move anything, you're going to go with the Cummins. The bad part is anything that says Cummins is expensive, you guys. If you guys want to buy a junked out pickup like this, you guys have an extra engine sitting around or anything, you are going to pay big bucks because all those guys think that even though their engine's blowing up or whatever, the transmission's out, they price it like it's a good running vehicle, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I have never seen a Cummins diesel for cheap. Um, you will not find any parts vehicles to buy since everyone thinks they're sitting on gold and want the same price as a good running one. So you're forced to have an expensive diesel repair shop rebuild your engine, transmission, and injectors. since there are no junk engines to rob the $2,000 injection pump off and whatever $800 injectors off. I'm just assuming they're $800. I don't know. I do know that uh, the Duramaxes you're looking at 2,400 for OEM injectors and 16 to 1,800 for Bosch ones from your diesel repair shop, though. We only have to deal with six on a Cummins. Um, uh, Yep, but these lower mileage pickups are so much cheaper to get into than the Ford and Chevys, which have 400,000 miles and they still want $10,000 for them. My buddy has a 2003 Chevy Duramax that he bought new with 400,000 miles on it and is still on the original engine and transmission because they have the Allison automatic. He does not do maintenance and does 10,000 mile oil changes. Has never changed the tranny fluid in its entire life. Doesn't let the vehicle warm up in the cold and shuts the engine off before he even comes to a stop and heavy hauls with it. The one thing he said is you have to replace the injectors every 150,000 miles when it gets hard starting, where it cranks for so long before popping off. He said injectors are expensive for these. First, he went through Chevy and they were $2,400. Then 150,000 miles later, he went with the Bosch ones from the repair shop for like $1,800. And then he saw, after the next whatever, um, after that, he saw some Chinese ones on eBay for $800, but he was too scared to use them with the tolerances of injectors and injection pumps. Everything is so finely machined. And these Duramaxes, they were made from, these Chevy Duramaxes, they were made from 2001 to 2006. You do not want to buy the 2007 model because we bought a whole fleet of those 2007 model Super Duty pickups, and it's a whole new interior. Transfer cases were going out like crazy on them. That's when Chevy was in their downfall. So only go up to the 2006. And then I also want to mention though, back to the Cummins there. One of my neighbor boys, he had a 2004 Duramax, and it was a beautiful looking pickup, but he felt that it didn't pull his trailer fast enough. um, so he traded in for a 2006 Cummins, which is one of the good Cummins or whatever. Well, it had a slow leak from the transmission oil pan, and he didn't keep on top of it and ran out of fluid. And I talked to his grandpa, and his grandpa said that he spent $6,000 at the repair shop having them just repair the transmission. This was not a remanufactured transmission. Just realize these Cummins transmissions are expensive, and this was years ago, you guys. This is 10 years ago when I talked to his grandpa about that. Um, and the best thing about these Duramax diesel pickups is that Chevy advertised in their salesman training videos that the Allison 1000 transmission in them, which is a 5-speed automatic, is used in medium duty trucks up to 27,000 pounds, which um, pickup trucks, most pickups will never haul anything that much or that heavy. So that is the reason that these Allison automatic transmissions never fail and last forever. Um, says gross vehicle weight, yeah, 27,000 pounds gross vehicle weight. And that is why these transmissions never fail and last forever. Cummins might have $1 million engine, but Duramax has the mile transmission by using that Allison automatic. And you go through more transmissions than engines in pickup trucks, you guys. So that gets very expensive. Um, it gets more expensive by going through all these transmissions. And then they also have the cheapest junk parts vehicles to buy to keep their Duramaxes on the road. I have seen Duramax diesel pickups for $4,500 in running condition, guys. Also, the Chevy 8.1 liter gas engines in that same era, 2001 to 2000 or 99 to 2006. I think they actually came out in 2001, I believe, though. Um, they have the exact same Allison 1000 automatic transmission. So I think that you can actually steal those out of the 8.1 liter gases and put them in your Duramax, but I'm not for sure. There could be it could be the same setup as like the Ford E4OD, like in the 1995 Ford Power Strokes. Um, with those, they use the E4OD automatic transmission, but also the Ford F250 460 gas engine also use the E4OD, but they use a different torque converter and they have different heavier duty parts on the inside and stuff like that, and maybe different shifting points, stuff like that. So you could not, I don't believe you could actually use those back and forth. There's a lot of different forums that say you can, some say you can't, but I'd almost guess you can't. But with these 8.1 liters, they might work for you guys. I don't know, you guys. Um, and also, this body style was so mass produced that there were so many of these 1999 to 2006 three-quarter ton Chevy Silverados for sale. Um, and the going rate for these three-quarter ton ones, anyways, from what I've seen here, is $1,000 to $3,000 if you need body parts or whatever. And the ones for $3,000, those are well maintained, in good shape. I'm not saying they don't have rust, but usually for $3,000, that was somebody's baby. They took good care of it. Everything, all the maintenance is up to date on it. So you don't want to pay over 3,000 for that. Which, and that's a good deal. I'm not saying that's the Duramax, but like that's gonna be your Chevy 6 liter engines, which can pull a lot. And as of right now, I am happy with my 1999 to 2006 Chevy 6 liter gas, since it pulls a 21,000 pound gross vehicle weight trailer just fine. Um, but if I went back to heavy hauling again, like I used to, um, I would suck it up and save my money until I could afford to buy a Duramax from uh, the 19, in that 1999 to 2006 body style with under 200,000 miles. I realize most of them are high, since the engines go at least 400,000 and the transmissions do last forever. Um, I would save so much money in the long term by going this route, by saving a little bit longer and getting the Duramax. The Cummins would be my second choice, you guys, since I already owned one from that era, and I really liked it. I mean, like I said, I mean that thing can move anything. It's got so much torque. Um, and like me, when I remember when I was in school, one of my buddies, he had like a 1984 F-150 4x4 pickup with a 4 speed in it, and it had the three-cylinder. Uh, it was called the 300 inline six or straight six or whatever. It was the inline cylinder, and they had so much torque. He could put in four low and put in first gear, and he could pop the clutch or whatever, and or he pop the clutch and hop out of the pickup, and the pickup would just roll, just drive on its own. It won't die. That's how low gear they are. So those F-150s with that straight six, they can move anything. And one of my buddies has one. So that's where the Cummins is comes from, you guys. These Cummins are the same things, and they might not pull as fast down interstate. Like I know my Cummins on big hills fed a 14,000 pound backhoe on the back, going up a big hill. I would lose 10 miles per hour, but it still moved it. Let's see. I Here I said I would not even consider the Ford though because I can't even get the job done if that torque converter stalls out in the parking lot. I get it fully loaded and can't move it. So that still scares me about Power Stroke diesels, you guys. Um, First of all, I would say if you only haul occasionally, do not buy a diesel in the first place, because the maintenance is so expensive. Like I said, $2,000 injection pump for them, uh, $800 to $1,600 fuel injectors, compared to gas, which uses an $80 fuel pump from eBay and $50 spark plugs from eBay. Uh, these are only these are the only years of diesel pickups that I would probably buy because all previous Cummins diesels had the minivan transmission in them, and their 5 speed manual transmissions also failed at only 103,000 miles along with the clutch. And my brother, like I said, he had a 2001 Cummins diesel, and he knew about the automatic transmission problems, so he bought the 5 speed, and he bought it from um, a lady who had bought it for her daughters for they were all in high school rodeo, and they went all around the United States. And so all that pickup was ever used for actually was for towing a big heavy horse trailer, and I'm assuming they were towing in overdrive, in fifth gear, and at right after 103,000 miles, the clutch went out on it, and that was $1,500 at that time. I believe that was in 2009, and then shortly after that, the stick shift transmission also went out, and at that time was $3,000 that rebuild. So those 5 speed stick shift transmissions are not heavy duty either. Uh, the 1994 Um, the 1994 and a half to 1997 Power Strokes, they had camshaft position sensors because our family had those too, and we did have the camshaft position sensor. And what happened is you would start it up, and the engine would fire up, and then instantly it would shut itself off. They couldn't sense camshaft timing, so you always had to have like one in your glove box. And that could leave you stranded if you didn't have one of those camshaft sensors in your, a spare in your glove box here. And the weak E4OD automatic transmission that failed and lost reverse. Because right now my brother's got a 95 of Power Stroke, and with the automatic in it, he has no reverse in it, so that sucks. In the previous 7.3 liter and 6.9 liter diesels for Ford, they were indirect injection. They were called IDI, and our family had those too. And we also had and they would not start if you had been in the shopping mall parking lot for 2 hours doing Christmas shopping. So yeah, you'd run your batteries dead and barely get started, or you might not get started. You have to have somebody come boost you. So no, I do not regret. I do not miss the days before direct injection. Like even I remember back when I first went to college, it was a big thing. The F-250 high boys from the 1970s. People were taking Perkins diesels out of 750 Massey Ferguson combines and putting them in there. And our family, we had one of those, and we bought it brand new, those pickups, and it got 6 miles per gallon with that 4-speed transmission. And with those Perkins diesels, guys were getting 18 miles per gallon, but they were fine for down south. But if you're up in New York, our winters, that thing's not going to start. So, uh, so no, I don't miss those days. Um, And then the Chevy's previous diesel was the 6.5 liter turbo diesels. In our family, we had a 1984 three-quarter ton Suburban with a 350. Well, we blew up the engine. So we went to the Chevy dealership and we bought a brand new 6.5 liter diesel, but it was not turbo. And that thing got 17 miles per gallon with those big 285 tires on it. And um, but it was not a powerhouse, and it was hard starting because it was indirect injection. You couldn't you like I said, if you were at the parking or if you were Christmas shopping at Walmart for 2 hours, you would not get started either. Even cycling your glow plugs 3 times, 5 times, whatever. We did all that, and yeah, it was horrible. So yeah, like I said here, the Chevy's previous diesel was a 6.5 liter and it was gutless, but got 17 miles per gallon. But would also not start after 2 hours of Christmas shopping at the mall. After these body styles, Dodge went to the 6.7 liter diesel, and what they are is they're a 5.9 liter that is bored out. So the head gaskets were so thin between the cylinders that it burned out head gaskets, and they only got 9 miles per hour compared to my 2004 Cummins diesel that gets 15.6 miles per gallon when I drive to work using it as a car. And after that, they went to diesel particulate filters and eventually DEF fluid. And DEF and things about DEF fluid is DEF is expensive, and they had DPF problems. Which one of my coworkers, he bought a brand new 2009 Cummins diesel from the factory, and I remember he was telling me, I was like, "Where's your diesel at?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's at the shop. DPF filter problems." And then after the 7.3 liter Power Strokes, they went to the 6.0 liter. And I remember our neighbor, he bought a brand new one, and the turbo failed at only 40,000 miles. And then the engine locked up for no reason at 80,000 miles. And one of my other buddies, he bought a low mileage 6 liter years later. He was going up a long hill pulling some hay, and the engine locked up for no reason at 80,000 miles too. So that's just when they like to do it. And then after that, Ford went to the 6.4 liter Power Stroke, and people said it was even junkier than the 6 liter of the engine blowing up. So I'm gonna get a drink of water here, you guys. And then after that, Ford went to the super reliable 6.7 liter Power Stroke in 2011 to present. And that is where, if any of you guys have watched my videos and watched anybody's videos, you guys will know that the 1999 to 2006 Chevy Silverados are the longest lasting pickups on the road. Uh, you see them for sale all the time with 330 to 360,000 miles. Those engines just go. And with all this emission stuff, there was none of the manufacturers were stepping forward to make a reliable vehicle. And that's why everybody's driving these pickups that are 25 to pushing 30 years old. But the reality is, 2011 to present of the Ford Super Duties, the F250s, do not buy the half ton. None of the big three manufacturers make a reliable half ton. You have to buy an F250, whether it's a 6.2 liter gas or the 6.7 liter Power Stroke. Those are good pickups. And if all the parts vehicles were gone, I would be buying a 2011 to present um, F250 in a gas or a diesel here. Um, but here I put the 2011 to present F250s, but I don't want to deal with buying DEF fluid. They use DEF fluid, you guys. So the 2011 to present F250 with the 6.2 liter gas and 6.7 liter diesels are the replacement for the 1999 to 2006 Chevy pickup trucks that last forever. Just don't buy the 7.3 liter Godzilla gas engine in the F250s because the engines blow up at 75,000 miles because I believe they have an electric oil pump. It's not mechanical. And it's set at for idling only at 8 psi. And what they're finding is 8 psi is not enough oil pressure, uh, and it's wearing out all the bearings in the engines here at idle speed. Um, and then it says someday that is what I will upgrade to, is these 2011 and newer F250s, but not right now because parts vehicles are still so cheap and plentiful for the 1999 to 2006 Chevy Silverados. um, because those pickups, that was the highest producing for Chevy of any of their body styles, was that 99 2006. There's just so many out there. And then as for the Chevys, we bought a brand new 2009 Duramax, and it was at the Chevy dealer more than we had it for work, uh, because that DPF filter was plugging all the time because those Duramax diesels can only use the expensive ultra low sulfur diesel fuel. Also, our 2011 Silverado 2500 with the 6 liter gas had the transfer case fail at only 7,500 original miles. Uh, the transfer cases on our 2007 Silverado 2500s were failing left and right too, since they were so cheaply made. And then my buddy, he bought a brand new 2016 Silverado Duramax diesel, and he just had to pay a $9,000 repair bill at the dealership with his emission system. He had to pay $6,000 for the DPF filter and another $3,000 for the EGR cooler. And then I also saw a guy on YouTube that bought a brand new uh, Chevy Silverado 2500 with a 10-speed transmission, and the tranny failed at 60,000 miles right after it came off warranty. And then he bought $4,000 in parts and he rebuilt it himself at home. And that's why all three pickup manufacturers are building these giant gas engines to get away from these terrible DPF uh, and DEF fluid diesels. But originally, all these manufacturers use the more durable 4-speed automatic transmissions. But now they have all converted to these junky transmissions that have anywhere from 6 to 8 speeds in them. These six to 8 speed automatics that are failing at low mileage. On top of that, all three of them have put variable valve timing in these giant gas engines instead of using traditional push rods, and it is causing the lifters and camshafts to wear out at low mileage and requires major engine teardowns to repair. My buddy had a beautiful GMC Duramax, but he felt it did not pull his trailers fast enough, so he traded in for a 2006 Cummins diesel automatic. And he did not keep on top of the Cummins very slow tranny leak, and he ran out of tranny oil, and it was $6,000 for the tranny repair. Tranny shop place to repair that, and that was the 48RE. That's what I had, and I really like that transmission in it. Not a remanufacturing it, just to repair it. And then I also want to add another thing. a lot of the diesel repair shops, they're asking like mechanics, like what what pickup would you buy? And pretty much all of them are saying they would buy the old school Dodge Cummins diesel 12 valves, and um, they had a mechanical fuel pump in them and everything. But my brother, he's got a 1991 Cummins diesel with a stick shift, and like I said, even that really old bias, even the 1991 to 1993, whatever, when those were made, they had, I think they had weak automatics in those too. But my brother said amazingly that old body style 12 valve Cummins, that thing starts right off during the winter. And I went ahead and I Googled it of why they start so well. And they said they have an intake manifold heater. They do not have glow plugs in those. And that's the reason that those pop off. And I was over at my brother's house on a really cold day, and he's like, "Yeah, this thing will start out. I don't have plugged in or nothing. Haven't ran it in many months, and sure as heck it popped right off." So, um, yeah. So, yeah, that's what I recommend to everybody. I would buy the Duramax as my number one choice. Then I would buy the Dodge Cummins diesel as the next choice, and then the Ford would be my last choice. Um, And like I said, for the years of these, of the Duramaxes that you want, because all this stuff is pre-emissions, you're not dealing with diesel particulate filters or DEF fluid, is going to be the 1999 to 2006 Chevys, uh, 1998 to 2002 Ford pickups, and then the Dodges from 2003 through 2007. So with the 5.9 liter Cummins. So and then like so the Fords, they have the 7.3 liter Power Stroke, and the Duramaxes were the 6.6 liter um, Duramax. So if you guys like this content, like, share, and subscribe, and I will just keep kicking out these money saving videos and repair videos, um, and just how to save money here in Cambodia and any of Asia for that matter. So just want to save you guys money so you guys have a better life. All right, take care.